Oh, yes. Lots of things are happening. Welcome to the PHNX Rising podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. I am not Ramon Chavez. I am Max Simpson at Max David Simpson. And I am joined by Ramon because, listen, I know he's typically taking over the hosting duties. He Sherpa'd me. That's a verb now. He Sherpa'd me yesterday during the U.S.'s 1-1 draw against Wales, and now it is my turn to do the same for him during Mexico's 0-0 draw against Poland. Lots of things happened. Ramon, how the heck are you feeling?
Oh, well, I'm a few, Four Peaks beers in, so that's why I'm having you help me out today. But, man, you look at that score line right there that you have on the screen right now, and look, I know a lot of people are going to be excited, man, or not upset, but I'm excited. So I'm just going to let this roll, man, because it was a great game. We're gonna keep it going, man. Saturday, it's going to be insane. Argentina, Mexico. I know it was a tie 0-0 draw, but that's the World Cup, man. It's something it's a close game, and it's still a tie. But Mexico, thanks to San Memo, our Lord and Savior, San Memo, he came in clutch as he always does to in the World Cup. And I just saw this on Twitter. Memo Ochoa is to the World Cup as to what Mariah Carey is to Christmas. Because they always show up in those clutch times when you need them, and they make it happen, man. They bring the magic in, and San Memo did it today once again, keeping the game at 0. But crazy, man. If you guys were not at the Four Peaks Brewery today with us, you missed out, man. Because it was an amazing event, great time. And great game, man. I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm gonna take this off a little too heavy for me.
Yeah,
but yeah, great stuff.
Well, we will get into the game a bit. I mean, yes, to piggyback on that. I mean, shout out Four Peaks Brewery. We had an amazing time there yesterday, but today stepped it up even further with a little breakfast buffet. We're talking, the eggs, the bacon, the sausage, little Belgian waffle action.
It went all out, man. Dude, shout out to them.
Went all out. We had. I mean, listen, you're talking about something where people they open the doors at 8 a.m. Usually Four Peaks is a 10 or 11, 11 establishment, and they open early. Man, but I got there at like 8:15. There was like 50 people already in there by kickoff. We had 100 people at least, good chunk, like almost everyone was enjoying that breakfast buffet. And like, just shout out Four Peaks for the hospitality. People had a darn good time on that 22-foot screen. Couldn't appreciate enough. We know that we have more of the watch parties coming later in the week, Friday at noon, Saturday at noon, next week, and the rest of them. U.S. and Mexico World Cup watch parties will be at noon, but we appreciate Four Peaks for that hospitality. And I mean, I think the big thing, and you just hit on it, is, I mean, listen, there's a lot to talk about this game, but I mean, Memo Ochoa, he got the people going, and in that clutch time, he comes alive in the World Cup. He does what he does more than any. He's one of those guys where like he is superhuman. He comes up during the game. He does his thing. He's the Mariah Carey at Christmas, the Michael Bublé, whatever you want to say. Memo says no. Memo got the memo. Whatever you want to say, sir. He does what he does. I mean, when we'll talk about the game as a whole, but I want to just talk me through the penalty. Is when that happens. First off, like, what do you think? Is it justified pen? You think it's fair? What are you thinking?
So that's been my issue today, and we'll talk about the Argentina result too, because VAR came into play in that game as well. But to me, it's a hard fought game. In that play where Hector Moreno and Lewandowski are going after the ball, and Memo Ochoa doesn't know whether to come out of his line or not. It creates some confusion, but the ref in real time did not see anything. And that's the problem with VAR sometimes, that when you slow down, to 60 frames per second, everything's going to look like a foul. And I think in that situation, the refs upstairs that said, hey, just take a quick look. I don't think that's a really soft foul for me to give in this sort of game with as high as the stakes are. And so, I think it was kind of like some justice, bottles and lie, kind of situation where, Memo Ochoa was able to come clutch and deny the goal for Lewandowski, who still actually has not scored in all the World Cups that he's been in, because it's seeing it at the brewery, man, it was rough, man, because that we knew Mexico, if they weren't scoring, it just wasn't gonna happen. And still, it was a crazy game, but Memo came through, and after that, there was some momentum in the Mexican side, but still they weren't able to score. And we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, at that time, nervous wreck. I was absolutely going through it.
Well, and so I agree with you, right? The penalty gets called. I think you look at it. I think it's one of those. I could truly see it, and I don't say this a lot of my penalties, but I really could see it going either way. Guys are going for the ball. There is a bit of an obstruction, and then when Memo comes out, kind of takes the legs a bit, kind of wondering why is he sliding legs first rather than maybe if he goes for the ball with the hands, maybe there's a bit less confusion. But either way, I get it. It's kind of tough to really argue it. And when you have Robert Lewandowski stepping up to the spot, listen, Memo is awesome. And, it's kind of had that contrast with you have Robert Lewandowski. He is who he is. But then you have Memo, who is a superhuman. And I don't know why. I had zero stake in the game. I thought he was saving it. I really did. You look at the pen. It was a well-struck pen down and to the left. He had a long way to travel. And he not only saves it, he parries it a decent way. I mean, talk me through, what did you feel? Because Four Peaks, it was going nuts. It was like they scored a goal. Yeah. It's like they scored a goal. It was crazy.
Yeah, no. So my first thought is, okay, Mexico's going down. They got to come up. They got to come up clutch after that. And the reason I thought that was because if you look at the statistics, Memo Ochoa does not stop penalties. Historically, with Club America, with the clubs that he's been in, even with the national team, he does not stop penalties. But like we said, somehow, whenever the World Cup's around, he just turns superhuman. And he was able to come in clutch and read exactly where, thank you, Bobby, there. Lewandowski was placing the goal, his shot in. So it's one of those things where we saw it in 2014. We saw it in 2018 against Germany, where this guy, I don't know what happens, man, between World Cups where he just is not the same quality keeper. But once you put those bright lights and he gets a chance to get that World Cup trophy, he just turns it up, man. It's insane.
Yeah, and I mean, there wasn't a lot of action to be had on his side. I think Poland, both teams really kind of lacked a bit of that finishing in the final third. Mexico was a bit attacking, but I mean, Memo Ochoa, he does what he does, and that is why he is our draft king of the game for today.
Can I do it one more time?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, but
my dog absolutely hates that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you're listening on audio, this is normal. You're not experiencing an earthquake or anything like that. But no, it was, 2 saves, that big penalty save, and just electric. Like when you have your captain back there, I mean, again, if you're going off the logic, I don't know. He wasn't supposed to save that penalty. Most of the time they don't, but I just felt it, especially against one of, if not, the best number 9 in the world, easily top 3, top 5. He shouldn't have done it, but he did, and he just gave that boost to will his team to the draw.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and that kind of tells you a little bit more about the game if you weren't able to watch it. There was only few shots on target, the 2 that he was able to save. Basically, one came in a penalty shot, one late in the game, and that tells you a lot about how dire the situation is with Poland in regards to their offense, because they weren't able to create a lot. And the one time that they did was through a penalty. If you look at the XG, 1.02 to Poland, 0.75 for Mexico, but that's adding the penalty there. So Poland, I don't think they were as tough as a lot of people were making them out to be. They do have a lot of quality players, of course. The number 9 plays for Barcelona, Bayern Munich legend. But they had a lot of guys that played for Napoli, West Ham, a lot of dangerous guys that you can create some havoc. But Mexico, I feel, was a little bit better than advertised. I have some questions about the midfield, especially with Hector Herrera. With him, he has to be that person that's going to make the plays, create those opportunities. We saw Chucky, we saw Alexis Vega create chances. But in the midfield, it has to be him. Otherwise, you're just relying on these 2 guys on the wings to create chances. And even though Henry Martin had a great game up there as the forward for Mexico, the situation is still pretty bad. He's not going to be able to get to every ball. He's not as tall as the center backs that Poland had featured, so it has to come from the midfield. But once again, Memo Ochoa coming through and given a crucial 1 point to Mexico, especially with the result earlier today with Argentina.
Absolutely. Well, and like I said, he proud DraftKings king of the game. And if you want to get in on all the DraftKings action, you can do stuff for World Cup. Like I said, you saw talked about my bet yesterday with the U.S. Wales game. You can bet on top goal scorer, golden glove, like everything like that. Every single prop within this tournament, whether it's players, teams, everything
Australia
like that.
Just scored. Is that true?
My gosh, we now live in a world with this result where Saudi Arabia, who I said would lose every single match, is top of their group. We now have Australia scoring, where if those results hold, they're top of the group. This is why we love the World Cup. It is bonkers, but you can bet on that. You can bet on who's winning the group. I want to now talk about what their odds, what Australia's odds are to win a group, Saudi Arabia's. So much bonkers stuff going on every single time we talk about this, but you can bet on that on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Also, with Thanksgiving 2 days away, you can get in on the action with the NFL. And if you want to use the code PHNX, you place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game, and you get $150. That is 150 in free bets if that team wins. Only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with code PHNX. Minimum and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. I'm actually just processing Australia win. Like we literally said on paper. France should win this, but they struggle against these Asian, these
before we came on
teams.
camera, we're like, Petey came over here and he's like, hey, France is pretty good, right? We're like, we said yes, but, and then boom, Australia up 1-0. That's insane, man. What a World Cup we're having so far. I love it.
This is literally why it never stops now with 4 games.
I've got the stream on my computer, so if you guys want updates periodically throughout the show, I'm more
than
happy
screen
to give
over
them.
here, go.
Appreciate that,
Bro. I'm French. I'm not letting you watch it and not me.
Well, I did not know that. You learn something new every day. Oh, man. Crazy things going on at the World Cup. But, I mean, I know we talked about a bit. I think the kind of difference in this game, and please correct me if you kind of see it differently, that Mexico, their big thing throughout qualifying was, can we round into form? They finished second in CONCACAF, but it was a slog kind of to get there. The fan base says, hey, yeah, you finished second, but the team's not playing how we want to. They're not playing the beautiful free-flowing soccer. Didn't really have that out-and-out goal scorer or really that much creativity in the final third. And then you contrast that with Poland where, sure, they go through UEFA. Yeah, it's a bit more challenging, but we've just seen, to your point, I didn't like Lewandowski in that he hasn't scored in the World Cup. And their entire team really runs through him. Yeah. He doesn't do the same thing that he does on club level. It just kind of seems like two teams who are trying to figure it out offensively. And this draw, kind of by halftime, you kind of thought it was inevitable unless something changed, and it didn't.
Yeah, and I think at least with the Mexican side, there's a lot of players that I wish would have been in this World Cup. That's a conversation for a different place. But, when you have the players that you have, you can only do so much, right? And even Owen was giving us update from the stadium over there in Qatar, letting us know that there was a big boo when Tata Martino was introduced. And that just tells you how the fan base was feeling about this head coach and his decisions with this Mexican squad. But nonetheless, Alexis Vega, if you guys haven't heard about him before, I feel like he was primed for a great World Cup. I think he did pretty well today. Trying to pull up the stats here, but he was creating some chances on the left side. Chucky and him switch sides midway through the first half, and so you have to rely on these guys. There's no one really else besides these guys in this Mexican squad that's able to create opportunities like that. And so like I said, if the midfield's not working, then one of these guys have to step up, create some chances, and just get in the goal. We did see some today, and in a sense, I kind of felt like how I felt yesterday watching the U.S., where there's so much talent in this group, but they just got to put it together. Like you're saying, in qualifying, there were some issues. The U.S. has had some issues with goal scoring as of late as well, so they have to bring it all together. And like we both know that both of those teams can make a deep run if they can bring it together. The question is, can they, and will they do it in their next game? Because Argentina, England, those are not teams that are going to be easy to play against, and we'll see what happens. It's going to determine a lot with them moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, and it's again like Alexis Vega, it steps up a lot of the offense, a bit predictably, but it makes sense. It's going through Jesus Corona. Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because you got to wonder if Chucky Lozano offense went through him. You got to wonder if Tequetito, if Jesus Corona was available, what this would look like, because that's what Mexico do. They like to get it to their playmakers. They get it out wide, but they had a bit of a number 9 issue. Real guys stepping up, and I think you kind of see that you want to see a guy get ahead on the cross, and it just wasn't there in the final third.
Yeah, and we saw it today. There was an opportunity for Raul Jimenez. Look, if you give me 2019, 2020 Raul Jimenez, this guy's creating all sorts of trouble for the opposition, but after that head injury, he just hasn't been the same. And that's not something, I understand why Tata Martino brings him in, but in the World Cup, you need the best guys that are available. Is he the best forward that Mexico has right now? I don't think so. I think Martin showed it today, at least in the first half, that he's a lot better than what Raul Jimenez currently is. But that's when you start asking those questions. Why isn't Chicharito in the squad? Why, isn't someone like Carlos Vela taking part of this? Because you add those two guys into the mix, it's a completely different team, completely different ballgame today. But again, I'm okay with the draw. It keeps you alive in this now super tough group, apparently, because Saudi Arabia decided to turn into this powerhouse against Argentina. And Saturday is going to determine a lot of what happens with this group and a lot of the fates that are going to happen moving forward.
Yeah, and you hit it right there. Saturday is shaping up to be quite the interesting one for this group. Poland takes on Saudi Arabia on Saturday, 6 a.m. Arizona time. And then the big one, Mexico versus Argentina. Again, we will be there at Four Peaks doing our watch party thing. We will be having Rising player parentheses S in there, players in there, supporting us. And we are going to be doing our live post-game show at Four Peaks. Kickoff at noon, show up at 11 if you want it. But
if you're planning on going, and I was having this conversation with a lot of people there, they're saying, hey, can you reserve a table for me? I'm like, look, you have to be there early.
Get there early.
Get your table, because it's going to be absolutely packed. I know my family's going to be there. Got a bunch of friends coming in. They're going to be crazy and loud. It's going to be an insane game.
Well, and the crazy thing, yes, get there early, get a table, register in the link in the show notes. I mean, you get to see Mexico versus Lionel Messi, and the way the group is shaping out. Argentina at the bottom with 0 points. Poland and Mexico tied for second with 1, and Saudi Arabia
who would have thought that?
3 points. I mean, listen, man, you got up for that game. I was asleep still because I'm not gonna do it. I know Jacob is scorning me right now.
No, wait. I woke up at 6 to check into my flight for tomorrow because I fly out at 6 in the morning, and I opened my phone because I was like, oh, I should go see how bad Argentina beat Saudi Arabia. And I opened my phone and I was like, jaw dropped. I was fully awake. I was like, do I just wake up and watch the 6 a.m. game now? Like, is this? Yeah, no.
I was on my phone. I was like, is FODMOB? Are you broken? Is the internet broken? Because you see, I look like 1-2, like, wait, what's happening? Messi pen, and then you see that. I mean, that rip was crazy with that curl into the upper V. But just throwing this group on its head. That's the beauty about international football, is you don't know. You can think you know, but it keeps you guessing. I mean, you got up for that game. Walk us through what happened.
Yeah, so the game started like how everybody thought it was going to start. Argentina putting their foot down, getting control of the game. Eventually, they were awarded a really soft penalty, in my opinion, on a corner kick. Ultimately, Messi was able to slot it home and give Argentina the victory, the lead at that point. And so, but you can kind of feel it in the stadium that it was a different energy. It was a different vibe. Saudi Arabia basically playing as the home team. I mean, their country is literally miles away from Qatar, and you could feel it in the atmosphere that even though they were down 1-0, this team was going to continue to play tough and fight hard for their coach and their country. And once the second half started, dude, I don't know what happened with Argentina, and I think that's something that a lot of people predicted that might happen, where you have a really young team. You have a Messi that's not in his prime anymore. He's 35 years old. He was a little knocked up. I don't think he was 100% today. You could see it in his pace and his decision-making that he was maybe not all the way there. But Yeah, man, it was tough. And yeah, so to Thomas's point, Saudi Arabia did something that I commend them for, and this goes out to their coach, and I'm trying to find his name right now, but they employed a high press. Would you do that in a World Cup against a team like Argentina, putting your basically your team at risk for, just the over the top ball or someone dribbling by your midfield and your back line? That is insane that they went with that, and it actually worked. So it was crazy to see.
I mean, it breaks the mold of how teams play, not just Argentina, but these superpower teams. Again, we don't play this game on paper, but on paper, Argentina was expected to blow them out because they have a lot of offensive talent, and you essentially just ram the ball down. It's like, hey, these are what these guys are going to do. But how you beat that, and it's a very ballsy thing to do, but you bring that line of confrontation up north. You say, hey, you're going to have to beat us by going over the top, but if you don't, not only are you not going to be able to build any momentum offensively, but then we can do our thing in your half of the field. And I think you kind of hit it that Argentina, I think, has kind of taken on a bit of this team of destiny, if you will, with Messi's, last World Cup. They do have a lot of talent. That's no denying it. But like, Messi is a bit older. You mentioned he was knocked up. I think you mean dinged up or has a knock or two. I was chuckling
my bad.
very hard about that. But no, Messi has his things. Yeah, he's having a nice run of form with PSG. But like this defense, it's a lot of some of the older guys there. It has to all come together. And again, international football, you never know what happens. And Saudi Arabia, to their point, I'm blanking on their manager's name, but he led two different. Yes, I was looking at that tweet too. He led two different nations to win the AFCON, Africa Cup of Nations. Throughout this past decade, he qualified in Morocco for the first time since 1998, back in 2018. Like, he has a pedigree of success. And again, it's like, I'll be the first to admit it. I said they were going to lose every single match. I did not expect them beating one of the favorites for this tournament in the first match 2-1. And again, I didn't catch it, but it's like, these things aren't flukes.
And that's the thing with the World Cup, that you don't know what's going to happen. You can have a team like Saudi Arabia is literally beat the favorite to win this tournament. And shout out to the entire team, the coach as well. Like you're saying, won the AFCON with Zambia. It's insane how successful he's been with these African teams. And so shout out to them. But like I said, a lot of what happened today had to do with the fact that it was a home crowd. These guys, it's not a game to them. It's not a game. This is their life. They're fighting for their people. They take this as a battle. And even at the Denmark-Tunisia game, there was one play at the beginning of their match where Eriksson, one of the Tunisia defenders, slid by him really hard. Oh yeah. He stood up. He started cheering at the crowd because that's how much it means to them. It's not a game. A lot of these guys get paid millions of dollars to play the game. To them, it may not be something that, they'll be back, in the next World Cup. But some of these guys are never going to see that pitch again at the World Cup stage. It means so much to them. And I think when you infuse that into the World Cup and how much it means to them, it's just in any given day, any team can win. So it's insane.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit on that next match, the 6:00 kickoff between Denmark and Tunisia. That finished 0-0. Bit of a surprising result in the sense that we all kind of predicted. Well, I think you and I don't think Owen was as high on Denmark, but you figure this is one they're at least going to win, if not score. They had some moments of they put the press on them offensively, but just couldn't get it done. Kasper Schmeichel with doing Kasper Schmeichel things with an amazing stop. But yeah, it's again, you can't play these games on paper, and this is how this one shaped up.
Yeah, after the adrenaline wore off from the Argentina-Saudi Arabia game, I had a tough time.
France ties it.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay. Now.
Wow.
Yeah, but after that Argentina game, I was falling a little bit asleep because I knew we were going to have to go watch Mexico in a few minutes, but I did catch a lot of it, and I was surprised. Tunisia, these African teams, man, they're bringing it, man. Like they're no joke, and I don't think any team for the rest of the competition can take them lightly because they're here to play.
I mean, it's interesting when again, like you have I think African teams typically do get overlooked again, where it's like a Mo Salah and an Egypt team who have been traditionally strong, like when they ran through AFCON and everything. They made it to the final of AFCON and they lose and they can't get into the World Cup. Like, this is a strong year, I think, for these African teams. But I mean, listen, you mentioned you were a bit sleepy. I mean, was that just the adrenaline wearing off, or is that a little OG?
I think a combination of two, but the OGs definitely hits for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you need to calm down after a bit of everything going on with this World Cup fever, then make sure to take some OGs. They got all the different stuff. They like the sleep edition, the indica, everything like that. I mean, maybe sativa, you're bold if you're doing that, but I mean, hey, it's going to liven things up either way. But if you would like to try some delicious OGs of your own, check out ogsbrands.com to find a dispensary near you where you can then partake in some OGs yourself, but you must be 21 years or older to enjoy. And speaking of enjoying things, the holidays, like we said, are right around the corner. I know we have some fun stuff on Black Friday, like we said, with USA versus England. Noon kickoff at Four Peaks for the World Cup, but it's not the only thing to look forward to for Black Friday. You can stock up on the holidays with your friends and fam. PHNX, we have some awesome Black Friday stuff that we are going to be dropping on Friday, where you can save up to 90% off everything. That is a 90, not a 1990 on everything. And when you spend $75, you can get a $15 gift card. That all drops on Friday. Like, again, I'm no doctor, but 990, that's a lot of shekels. And I remember Espo said shekels and he thought that was a made-up currency. That is not. I have spent with shekels in my lifetime, but you can save a lot of shekels, cash, money, dinero, other forms of currency. 90% off everything on the site. Plus, if you join as a diehard, we talked about the diehard last week, you can save an extra 20%. 90 plus 20%. It's almost like we're giving you money at that point. So take a look. Oh gosh, Jacob is breathing in. What we got?
France just narrowly missed another chance.
That group right now is literally everyone with 1 point apiece. I love
we
the
need
chaos.
To have a sound or something for Jacob giving these updates.
It's just Jacob breathing heavily into the microphone.
The unfortunate thing is I leave tomorrow until Sunday, so I'm not on your Friday or
Saturday
producing,
shows. We will have to take on the form of mouth breather.
Breaking news, like all over the screen.
Breaking news. Yes.
Well, my mic is muted. No. Nobody can hear me until you point it out.
I wish they could. You have nice breaths. Breaths, you people. I know I said breaths. Anyway, but yes, a lot of good stuff with PHNX at our events online. I mean, that's a lot of our World Cup stuff. Anything? I know we do have a bit of Rising news, but
did get some
before we get to that, is there anything we're missing on the World Cup from today that we can think of?
No, it's a great time to be a soccer fan. Like if you don't want to get up to watch these games, I completely understand, but you got to get up and watch at least a little bit, because these games are absolutely insane. And if you haven't been to our World Cup watch parties, definitely try to get there. We're going to be there on Friday for the US England game. I feel like that's just going to be the most watched soccer game in US history. It's going to be insane over there. And then, Max and I are going to be bringing the energy. That's what we did these past 2 days. I know I'm a little drained right now. I know how you felt yesterday.
If you thought I was a nervous wreck yesterday, get ready for Friday. And then same for this guy on Saturday. Yeah. It's going to be something. So stay tuned for that.
We had Rising head coach Juan Guerra join us there with his family. And every time I looked at him, he was just kind of like chuckling, because he's like, I could not watch this game with the amount of people that are surrounding you, because I would be a nervous wreck. So he kept telling me, respect, brother, respect, because man, I had bacon on the one side, I had my beer on the other side, I had people coming in and out, it was just a lot going on. And people would speak to me, and I'm like, look, I'm locked in, man. Like, I'm so sorry. I love you. Give me 1 second, but I am locked in. Because
I was like sweating for you. I was like, I have zero stake in this game. But like, why am I nervous? Like, why are my hands all clammy?
Just feel it in the atmosphere.
But Juan was awesome. He was meet and greeting with all the friends there. Like, thank you very much. We thought about our show. Just an incredible human being, super nice. He's a man of the people, right? He's he had a Four Peaks beer. Mm-hmm. He's chopping it up with everyone. Just goes to every single table. We loved having him there. Again, we're going to have some Rising players out on Friday. So again, be sure to tune in for that. But thank you Juan, for showing up. And hey, he's not the only Rising action signing we saw. Our guy Owen, as you know, is in Qatar. And he sends us this text of, hey, I see someone in the third row with a Rising polo. And look at Owen with his Wales bucket hat, chatting up this dude in a PHNX Rising polo. We are a big club. We are worldwide. We're Mr. Worldwide, to quote Pitbull. We are worldwide.
There. Yeah, that's insane that you just see a Rising fan 3 rows away from Owen, all the way in Qatar. How insane is this? I would say small world, but they're all the way in Qatar. It's definitely not small.
It's crazy, man. Well, and hey, maybe it won't be, we're going to keep growing because that PHNX Rising news is there is a bit of a new investment in the company. Literally like 5 minutes into our Mexico-Poland match, I see a tweet pop up on Rising, and they announced that Bear Fisher joined PHNX Rising's board of directors, representing Vincier Capital, which is Scottsdale based, and it's part of a multi-million-dollar investment. I mean, look, there's still a lot that we have to kind of figure out with this, what this means. But a couple things right off the bat, right? It is Scottsdale owned. It's something that they have a tie into the community. I feel Jacob is ready with
France scored again.
Okay, yeah, that's I kind of have a feeling. Okay, come on. Who scored for France, by the way?
The first one was Rabiot.
Yeah, Rabiot. Okay. Adrian Rabiot. Yep.
Let me look up the box score.
You're not going to have that. Him as first goal scorer, that's for sure. But while he's looking up that, very interesting about this club news, right? It's Vincier Capital. It is someone who is
Giroud.
Wow, there you go. A little redemption, no Benzema. Hey, no Benzema, Vincier Capital is local to the PHNX community, right? I'm looking on, kind of looking at the press release and with their website. They have a lot of work within the real estate business. We know that Rising is now moving to this new stadium. I mean, they're looking to get bigger. I'm sure there's more to come with this, but the fact that we hear the announcement last week. We then go to a new investor coming on, or a new board of directors who represents a capital firm. Yeah. Pretty exciting stuff. And if you're a fan of the club, it just gives you again, putting the money where the mouth is and wanting to make this club even bigger and better than before.
Yeah. Yeah, if you wanted a vote of confidence, this is what you're looking for, because not only the stadium news that we got last week kind of give you a little bit of pump you up a little bit about the future of this club, but now you get these news right here with this investment in the club. So great to hear. I was a little confused because it happened literally in the middle of the Mexico game. So I was like, what's going on here? So I had to sit down and figure out what's going on. So yeah, we're going to digest this a little bit more, break it down for you a little bit later as well. But this is exciting. This means that this team is here not only to stay long term, but they're here to win. And I think that's what fans want to hear.
100%. I mean, it's again, more to come on this, developments with players as they're coming, going, all that stuff. But it's just an exciting time, right? There's never a dull moment with this club, with soccer in this community, and we love it, man. It's just a fun time with everything we got going. We appreciate everyone joining us for the watch party yesterday and today, and those of you who are already coming out on Friday and Saturday. I got to look at the numbers again. I think we have another 100+ people coming on Friday, on Black Friday. We are packing this thing. You're telling me there's a lot of people for Saturday as well. Let's freaking go. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on here, for being part of what we're doing at PHNX Rising, for coming out, showing out, all that jazz. Join Ramon and I on Friday, on Saturday. Again, Friday at Four Peaks, Saturday at Four Peaks with the live post-game show in Four Peaks. Ramon, take us home, buddy.
Viva Mexico!